If you are married, you are likely leaving thousands of dollars on the table when it comes to your Social Security spousal benefits. In this video, we are going to talk about the ways that you can aim to maximize your spousal benefits and the nuances around spousal benefits. Hi there, my name is Zach Carruthers and welcome to the channel. If you are aiming to maximize your Social Security benefit and spousal benefits, then you are in the right spot. Whether you are nearing retirement or in retirement and exploring your Social Security benefit options, then this video is for you. Stay tuned. So before we dive into the actual strategies around Social Security spousal benefits, let's quickly review how Social Security spousal benefits actually work. As you can imagine, this is a much more involved process than your own individual Social Security benefit. If you are working and qualify for Social Security benefits and you've been married for at least 1 year, your spouse is eligible for those Social Security spousal benefits. So in this situation, if your spouse is eligible, you have one of two options. Either one, your spouse can claim their own benefit if they've been working and have an earnings history throughout the 35 years that the Social Security looks at. Or number two, they can claim your spousal benefit, which can be up to 50% of your own Social Security benefit at your full retirement age. Now you might be asking yourself, when is your full retirement age? Well, your full retirement age depends on your birth year. Odds are your full retirement age is somewhere between the ages of 66 and 67. You can check out the table right here to find out when your full retirement age is. So now let's say that you discover that your spouse is eligible for Social Security spousal benefits, and you would like to know how much they can expect from that benefit. Well, as mentioned, your qualifying spouse will be eligible to up to 50% of your primary insurance amount, that is your Social Security benefit amount, at full retirement age. It is important to note that this, again, is at full retirement age. If you elect to claim Social Security at the age of 70, let's say, your own benefit amount will increase, yes, but your spouse will not be entitled to what you get, which is that delayed retirement credit. Meaning, even if you delay your own benefit up until the age of 70, your spouse is only entitled to 50% of your benefit that you would have received at full retirement age. Now, it is important to note here too, we'll get into this a little bit more, but your spouse also cannot collect that spousal benefit until you are claiming your own Social Security benefit. So now, related to this, I want to address something that can be confusing. Again, we are going to assume that we have one spouse who is the higher earner, and one spouse that either one didn't work or two has a much lower primary insurance amount. So let's assume, just for the sake of this example, that together they decide the higher earning spouse elects to collect their Social Security benefit at the age of 62, permanently reducing their benefit amount. Well, if the higher earning spouse elects to do this, what happens to the spousal benefit? Is it also reduced? Well, check this out. The spouse can actually still collect 50% of the higher earner's primary insurance amount at their full retirement age. So again, if the higher earning spouse elects to claim their Social Security benefit at the age of 62, the spouse can wait until their full retirement age and still receive 50% of the higher earnings primary insurance amount at their full retirement age. So with that said, just like if the primary worker in the house were to file for Social Security and claim their benefit early, let's just say at the age of 62, and the spouse elected to do the same thing, then yes, their spousal benefit would be reduced. You would not be entitled to that 50% at full retirement age. It will be permanently reduced. So now let's get into a different situation here. Let's assume that you, as the working spouse, elect to claim Social Security at full retirement age, or later. Your spouse has a much lower earnings history than you, and as a result will be collecting the spousal benefit. That is, their benefit doesn't exceed 50% of your benefit. And so it makes sense to collect that spousal benefit. But they still have their own benefit that they can claim. So with this said, your spouse doesn't want to wait until their full retirement age, and they elect to claim Social Security at the age of 62. Well, what happens in this situation? As we mentioned earlier, if the spouse collects the spousal benefit before their full retirement age, there will be a permanent reduction in the amount that they are receiving from Social Security. So again, just as if you collected early, their benefit will be permanently reduced, like we just said. So it's important to note that the earlier you or your spouse claims, the greater the reduction. So if you claim at 62, it's going to be a much bigger reduction than if you claim at 65. And again, you're entitled to 100% of your primary insurance amount at the age of 67. So let's go through a quick example. Let's assume that the primary worker elects to claim Social Security at their full retirement age. And again, that is anywhere between the ages of 66 and 67. But your spouse collects at 62 instead of at their full retirement age. Well, assuming that your spouse is claiming the spousal benefit, instead of collecting that 50% that they're entitled to at your full retirement age, if they collect at their full retirement age, they would collect as little as 32.5% at the age of 62. So again, instead of collecting that 50%, if they collect at 62, it's 32.5%. Okay, so now let's move on to a quick example of when it makes most sense to collect a spousal benefit as opposed to your own benefit. The first example, and most popular, is obviously for those spouses who took a really big career break or had a career as a homemaker. As a result, they have very little to no earnings history and will most likely collect this spousal benefit. Now, the second example is for a spouse who made significantly less throughout their working career or didn't have 35 years of earnings history to show for when it came to calculating their benefit amount. For the years in which you don't work, those are counted as earning $0 for the sake of the calculation. And so therefore that can significantly lower your overall primary insurance amount. So let's transition into an example here. Let's say that the primary insurance amount for the primary worker at full retirement age is $3,500. And for the spouse who didn't have 35 years of earnings to show, has a personal benefit of $800. Well, as long as you and your spouse have been married, again, for at least 1 year, they could actually claim up to 50% of your primary insurance amount at their full retirement age. Using this example, that would be $1,750. Again, that is 50% of your $3,500. This is, once again, assuming that they claim at their full retirement age. And now, as mentioned earlier, if they elect to claim before their full retirement age, this spousal benefit could be reduced from 50% down to 32.5%. So now let's assume that you and your spouse are looking to create the most optimal Social Security strategy. More specifically, if you are aiming to maximize your Social Security benefit, it would clearly make sense to delay filing your own benefit until the age of 70, and then make sure that your spouse claims their spousal benefit at their full retirement age. This is, right, the best way to increase the amount of money that you're receiving from Social Security. So yes, this does sound great, but like anything, there is a catch. In order for your spouse to claim their spousal benefit, you must first be claiming your own Social Security benefit. We highlighted this briefly, early on in this video. So let's assume that your spouse didn't have an income, and let's assume that you and your spouse are close in age, within 3 years, let's say. You waiting until the age of 70 is actually going to force your spouse to wait to collect their Social Security spousal benefit. And this could be actually possibly, past their full retirement age. So let's say that your spouse is 2 years younger than you, and you're at full retirement age today. But you are aiming to maximize your benefit amount just from a sheer numbers perspective. And so you want to wait until the age of 70. Well, doing so will make it to where your spouse doesn't claim their spousal benefit at their full retirement age. They would actually claim it 1 year later. Well, guess what? As we mentioned, they do not get a delayed retirement credit. So we are literally giving up 1 year of income for no reason. So this is something that we want to be mindful of, because depending on your situation, it might actually make more sense for you to both collect at your full retirement age to avoid any gaps in income that you might be making from Social Security. So let's use that same logic. Let's assume that your spouse has their primary insurance amount, but it's lower than 50% of your benefit. So they have some working history there, but it's still lower than what they would receive in the form of a spousal benefit. This actually provides a very unique opportunity. Again, assuming that you and your spouse are close in age, let's just say that you're both 67 and that is also your full retirement age. Well, if the working spouse decides to delay their Social Security benefit until the age of 70, we mentioned earlier that their delayed retirement credits would not transfer over to their spouse, meaning after full retirement age, the spousal benefit is not impacted at all. There is no increase in the amount that your spouse could receive. Well, if you're in this position and you want to avoid any gaps in income, but at the same time you want to aim to maximize your Social Security benefit, your spouse could actually start claiming their own benefit at their own full retirement age. They could then collect this until the age of 70, and then once their spouse turns on their Social Security benefit, they could then claim the spousal benefit and in turn increase the amount that they are receiving. So this allows for the primary worker to get the delayed retirement credit by delaying their benefit up until the age of 70. Meanwhile, the spouse was able to claim their own benefit, even though it's lower than 50% of the primary insurance amount of the primary worker. They were able to claim that at 67 and then turn on their spousal benefits at the age of 70 when their spouse finally turned on their own benefit. So I know this is confusing. Let's run through some numbers for clarity. Let's assume that the higher earning spouse has a primary insurance amount of $2,500 per month. That is the Social Security benefit that they will receive at their full retirement age, 67. The lower earning spouse has a primary insurance amount of $950 at their full retirement age, 67. So let's assume that the higher earning spouse elects to delay their benefit until the age of 70 in order to get those delayed retirement credits. This would in turn increase their benefit from $2,500 to about $3,100. That said, together they decided that the lower earning spouse should actually collect their Social Security benefit at the age of 67. Remember, they can't yet claim their spousal benefit as the higher earning spouse hasn't yet started collecting their own Social Security benefit. So as a result, the lower earning spouse will collect their benefit in the amount of $950 per month starting today at the age of 67. They will then collect this benefit for 3 years until their spouse turns 70 and starts collecting their benefit. At this point, the lower earning spouse would then start collecting the higher earning spousal benefit of $1,250, increasing the benefit by $300 per month and bringing the grand total Social Security benefit between the two of them to $4,350. So yes, Social Security benefits can be complicated, especially when you start talking about how spousal benefits play a role in your overall strategy. So in summary, here are a couple things that I want to leave you with. Number one, your spouse can receive up to 50% of your primary insurance amount no matter when you claim your benefit, as long as they elect to claim that spousal benefit at their full retirement age. So even if the primary worker claims before their full retirement age, the spouse can still claim up to 50% of the primary worker's primary insurance amount at their full retirement age. Number 2, in order to collect a spousal benefit, the primary worker must be collecting their own benefit. Guys, I hope this video provides clarity around how you can aim to maximize your own Social Security benefit and spousal benefit. My goal on this channel is to empower individuals like yourself to embrace financial confidence and unlock the path to a life truly well lived. For more Social Security and retirement planning content like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.